doesn't show. Did somebody see it? Because it had to be confirmed.
Mm-hmm.
And some guy said, yeah, I saw the airplane crash. Then it is a confirmed victory. You know, you can say, I did all you want. If it's not on the camera, or if it wasn't someone who saw it, it's not confirmed.
Okay, so you got hit, and you're in the enemy territory after
Oh,
it
yeah.
blew up, so how'd you get back?
Well, my plane pulled up off of it. Within a matter of 30 seconds, my oil pressure starts dropping to zero, my oil pressure starts going to temperature, and those are liquid-cooled engines. And all of the liquid came out right across the windshield. So I lost all my coolant. Within a matter of 10 to 15 seconds, that engine's going to freeze.
Wow.
Because it has no more coolant. And it can't run without coolant. So when all that came across, I said, I had it. Now, I am worried. But in the meantime, the guys in my flight were circling, and when they started to wave at me in the meantime, because with that high temperature, it was because I was losing my oil. And I had a black stream of smoke now starting to come out, which I didn't even know. And they're howling and looking in the back, and I'm looking at that, looking at my gauges, and they're starting to go wild, and I lose all of my coolant. Then I know, Harold, you are in a heap of trouble. So it was just a matter of seconds, and I didn't have that much altitude, so I pulled it up, roll over, jettison the canopy, then I kick the stick forward, and that pops the nose up and throws me out.
Okay.
And that's the fastest way to get out.
Okay.
Then I got out, pulled my, D-ring on my parachute, and I had a good shoot, and within about no more than 20, 30 seconds, I was on the ground. That's how close I was to the ground.
Oh, my gosh.
And but I landed safely, and I ran out in the trees and whatnot, and I knew just about where I was, and I thought, boy, if I could evade for just about 7, 8 days, I could almost make it to the Russian lines if I could just keep going, because they were getting that close, to Berlin. And it wasn't. I was in some heavy trees and a big hill, and up comes over the hill was 2 constables and with rifles. And they saw me land, they saw the chute land. I took off the chute, ran into the trees. So they knew, right? And they looked in and raised their rifles on me. So I threw my gun away. You always carried a 45. I threw the gun away. So I didn't have a gun, and I came out. They took me back to the village, which was about 30 minutes away that we had strafed, and there was a mob sitting there right at the village. As I came in, I guess word got out, they got the pilots, because they possibly could have seen me bail out. They bring me in. The villagers came up, and they are angry. I mean...
So what village is this?
Oh, I can't even remember the name of
just
it.
curious.
As a matter of fact, it was interesting because I got a map of Germany, and I've been trying to locate just about where the village was at. About 8, 9 months ago, we got a call from a couple in Germany that was on a project sponsored by some big organization in Germany to look up where pilots were claimed to have parachuted out and where atrocities occurred, just to see if, and they would interview people, and there's still some of those people still living. They were interviewing, trying to find out evidence of, did this occur or didn't it? So they called me from Germany initially and said that we understand that you bailed the yak. And I don't know where they're getting all their information from. So I told them as best I could. I said, I think I was just south of Linz, and I couldn't have been much more than, 20, 30 miles, so I just don't know how many miles. But I know we were strafing from Linz southeast about 100 miles in that corridor. They knew the corridor. Oh, yeah, we know the corridor, and yakety. So they came here to the States to visit a number of pilots like myself, and they visited with us right up in Catawba. Very, very nice couple, and they showed us, some of the things that they have found now. So they said, well, we looked up and we figured that you were right here, and we do know for a fact that there was a big strafing mission that went along here, and that was probably the mission that they had all
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
and they were showing me, all the little villages along the way
Oh, my gosh.
that were hit and whatnot, and
Okay, so you get to the village and they were really angry. And
really angry at me.
And,
And they met me at the village.
okay.
What your intelligence officer would always brief you: get out of the target area, for the obvious reason. The civilians are angry. You're dropping bombs, or you're strafing. Get out of the target area. Because generally the older villagers, older citizens, were really generally sympathetic, if you look at them as a group. And more of them were sympathetic than those that were involved with the war or even thought that they should have been in war. So they said, at least you got a chance. Well, I land right in the target area. I come back, angry people, shrapnel flying all over. I might have hit this guy's wife or his baby, killed him. Who knows, And I'm not aiming at people, but I'm firing 650 caliber guns.
Yeah.
I'm hitting this train. Shrapnel is flying all over the place, God knows where. Finally, it blows up, It's even worse when it goes. So they came in, and they were angry. And the first thing I thought of, oh, no, Harold, I just broke the cardinal rule. Here I am parachuting out almost in the target area. So they picked me up. And here I am, 20 years old, and I'm wondering what in the world, can't speak German, little snotty-nosed kid. I come back, into the village, and they're going boom, boom, boom. Some of them were on skis, and they had the ski poles in there, doing this with the poles, and they're making a noose, So I knew that day that I was going to die. There was just no question about it. It's the perfect setup. Strafing, small village, you land in the target area, a couple of constables who couldn't care less. You're going to die. We walk in, whatnot, and they're screaming, and this went on for about, 15 minutes or so as we're walking down into the village, and we stopped. And I swear, I can visualize a tree, and I always call it, that was the perfect hanging tree. In my mind, it was just absolutely, had a nice low branch, and I can still see that tree just as plain as I can see that picture, right to this day. So I said, boy. And I was almost in a state of shock, because I just bailed out and whatnot, got through it, and then here I am picked up. And I guess I was wild-eyed myself. And I didn't know what was going to happen, and the fact I thought I was going to die, I was certain of it. And when I was 19, 20, I got pictures of myself at that age when I came home. And I really looked like a baby. I was a young-looking kid. So we come in, whatnot. I saw another constable in the back, but I didn't pay any attention to him. I saw him walk on, but I was ignoring. I was more concerned with what's going on. And I think I was almost in a state of shock is how I spell it, because I was actually talking to myself. I said, well, Harold, what the hell are you doing up here as a war on, looking like you look with this black face? Well, what are you going to do? Well, I don't know what I'm going to do. Well, you got to think of something. What are you going to do? And I was really, I don't know. What in the world can I do here? If I run, they're going to shoot me. Right. So I just figure I'll just react, and they'll do what they're going to do. Next thing I knew, I felt his hand on my shoulder. The guy snatches me back. He gets in front of me. He was older gentleman. I would assume that he was probably in his mid-30s or so as I saw his face, as I remember his face, which is even difficult to do now. He stepped in front of me. The other two constables laid their guns down, because he had a gun, laid their guns down. They became part of the mob. And he held them all back. And they're screaming in German. I mean, they are screaming bloody murder. And this guy is screaming right back. Think about that for a moment. If he was a constable there in that village, he had to know everybody in that crowd. There had to be people who he grew up with. And if he's got kids, one of his kids could have been in the crowd.
Yeah.
And he's holding a gun on them, protecting me.
Wow.
We backed up into the village while he holds the gun on. I would guess, as I try to remember, it couldn't have been any more than roughly 2 to 3 blocks or so into the village. There was a pub there. He kicks the door in and chases everybody out of the pub. We go in the pub, and we barricaded ourselves. And I can remember these big tables, these big stein, these big oak tables. And we piled the tables up in front of the door, and we barricaded ourselves in there. And they're pounding on the doors. There was even small bars on the windows. They broke the glass, and they were throwing rocks in and whatnot. And now this occurred in March. When I bailed out, I was in the snow up to my knees almost. Excuse me. The crowd slowly started to disperse. We stayed there until after midnight before everyone had dispersed. It was very quiet, and it stayed quiet for some time. And we were there for a good 2 to 3 hours, to make certain that there was no one there. We go out the back way. We walked about 5, 6, 7 kilometers down to the next village. And it was about that far, I guess. And I went in. He turns me over to him, and they're talking in German and whatnot. Then he leaves. I'm now in this little village, in this little small jailhouse. They call somebody, and we go down to another village, and that is where, after, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 hours, a truck comes up. I get on the truck, and I go down to a third village. And that's where they put me in a little cell. And there were about 3 cells there. And while I was in the cell, I heard a bomb, and I don't even know what's going on, And every time someone comes up, I wonder, what are they going to do? Are they now going to kill me? What?
Right.
And I'm scared to death. So I'm in the cell for a couple of days, and a mission goes over, and I just had the thought, I just might have company. Somebody's going to get shot down, And about midnight that night, they had shot down a bomber. They had picked up the bomber crew, rounded them up, and they came to this little place where I was at. And when they came in, I then knew how I looked. They just all managed to successfully bail out of their bomber. They were all caught. They don't know what's going to happen. Some of them was probably as young as I was, 19, 20 kids, gunners and radio men and whatnot. They drag them all in, and they put 3 or 4 here, there, 3 or 4 here, and there were a couple in my cell. I didn't have the pilot or the co-pilot. He was in another cell. So they're in the cell, and they see me. They say, "Are you an American?" "Yeah, I'm American." "You're a pilot." "Yeah, I got my wings." So far. "What's going on? What's going on?" I can't speak German. I have no idea. I was shot down a couple of days ago on a strafing mission, and I'm in the same boat you're in. We're all here together. And they said, "Oh my God, what's going to happen?" And they're chatting, and the chatter's going on. What's going to happen? Cool it. Hey, I don't know. I've been down for 2 days. I don't know anything. I guarantee you aren't going to know anything. So we're sitting there, and this one kid up to me said, "Harold, I am scared to death." I said, "Well, why? What's the matter? They haven't hurt me yet." And he said, "Harold, I am Jewish." I said, "Well, why should that cause you a problem? All you got to do is keep your damn mouth shut. And who knows going to know if you're Jewish? They can't tell by looking at you. What you are, I couldn't recognize you. Just keep your mouth shut." He says, "Oh." I said, "Now, I don't have a way." And they hate me as bad as they hate you, and I can't escape. And he says, "Oh, Harold, I'm so sorry." "Oh, I'm only making, in this damn place where I'm just making a joke, a little humor, He said, "Oh, and we stayed together until we got to Nuremberg."